It's been a few years since Miami Dolphins fans have seen a meaningful game for their heroes on the final day of the season, but there's a world of meaning here this afternoon. By the end of the day, the Dolphins could be playoff bound, but they have to beat the New York Jets to have a chance. Today's game is being broadcast in Spanish where available using the SAP button on your television.
Presenting Subway Fresh Buzz. Subway, the official training restaurant of Robert Griffin III, Justin Tuck, Jarvis Jones, and athletes everywhere.
Ain't much to talk about. We win, we in.
Carolina poured it on against the Saints last week. Luke Kuechly had one of the team's 2 picks. Greg Hardy had 3 of the team's 6 sacks. And quarterback Cam Newton threw the game-winning touchdown to Dominic Hickson with 23 seconds left, as Carolina clinched its first playoff berth since 2008.
What's that?
Subway Big Hot Pastrami.
Pastrami?
No, pastrami.
Pastrami!
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 Get your own Subway Big Hot Pastrami. Tender, juicy beef on freshly baked bread. Enjoy yours with mustard and pickles. Subway, eat fresh.
CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Back in Sun Life Stadium in Miami, there is the weather situation, and there is weather on the way. The radar says thunderstorms are in the offing sometime this afternoon here in South Florida. Little clouds around his head all season long. Rex Ryan, a lot of conjecture about whether or not he's going to be back as the head coach of the New York Jets or not.
Well, only owner Woody Johnson knows for sure, but the reality is that at least the last 48 hours, the rumor mill has been very kind to Rex, and all signs are pointing to the fact that he will return next year.
The Jets won the toss, and they have deferred, so they will kick it to Miami. Deep is number 34, Marcus Thigpen.
Week 17. So many teams, so many games of importance, exactly what the NFL's been looking for. This is the way you like to have your last regular season go. Last regular weekend.
Will not get a chance to run this one back, and so we'll start at the 20-yard line. Ryan Tannehill in his second season, trying to lead the Dolphins to the playoffs. 23 touchdown passes against 14 interceptions and completing 61% of his throws.
Well, the Dolphins took it to the Jets a month ago in a game at the Meadowlands. And I'll tell you one thing about it. Joe Philbin was thrilled with the way his team played. Rex Ryan was upset, and he goes, I guarantee you Ryan Tannehill will not be as comfortable in the pocket today as he was a month ago.
Tannehill, short drop, now throws out here, and that's complete to Hartline. And Hartline is out of bounds across the 30 to about the 32 or 33-yard line. The Miami offensive line, anchored by third-year center Mike Pouncey, named this week to his first Pro Bowl. And among Miami's offensive weapons, tight end Charles Clay has been outstanding with 65 catches for more than 700 yards and 6 touchdowns. First down at the 32. Miller trying to turn the corner and is run out short of the 35-yard line. The Jets on defense, one of the very best defensive players in the league, Muhammad Wilkerson, 10.5 sacks and an interception. The linebackers, veteran Calvin Pace in his 11th year has 10 of the Jets' 41 sacks. And in the secondary, cornerback Antonio Cromartie, his 3 interceptions lead the Jets. There's Muhammad Wilkerson.
He's a first alternate on the Pro Bowl squad, which means if someone doesn't go due to injury, he'll get the call to go to Hawaii.
Go, go! Tannehill on 2nd and 9, going to give it to Miller again, and Miller not much beyond, powers his way out to about the 38-yard line.
Well, Ryan Tannehill for the Miami Dolphins, just coming up to the conclusion of his second year. He kind of banged his knee up last week at that horrible outing up in Buffalo. Matt Moore had to come in and play some snaps for him, but he said really it hasn't been a problem this week. He's been a full participant in practice, and he says, hey, don't worry about it, no big deal.
Miami 2 out of 14 on 3rd down at Buffalo a week ago. On 3rd and 5, over the middle, and that was complete across the 45 to the 47-yard line to Clay for a 1st down.
Well, Ryan Tannehill has a lot of weapons at his disposal in the passing game. And the guy that you really didn't know was coming on like this was Charles Clay. What a hybrid player. He's actually a tight end, but he's part fullback, he's part H-back. He's an outstanding blocker. And what he can do in the open field is that he can make people bounce off of him. He's just a football player and a really good one.
Now at the 47-yard line, Tannehill spreads the field with 5 receivers. Pulls it down and now lobs it and incomplete. Hartline ducked inside, went back outside, and Tannehill overthrew it.
Well, he had Antonio Cromartie in coverage, and he left Cromartie in the dust. And it just, the little pressure in Tannehill's face right there, and he just flipped it a little too far. He is wide open. Quentin Coples with the hit, but that Hartline was a good 3 yards away from any Jet defender.
Daniel Thomas has come into the backfield for Miami now on 2nd and 10. And this is Thomas, and he grabbed by the neck and pulled down by Quentin Coples.
And boy, they're Quentin Coples, their #1 draft pick a year ago. Here he is right down here. Watch him come in the backside, unblocked, comes right down the line of scrimmage, and talk about a dead play. Daniel Thomas, no chance whatsoever. No one runs the ball very effectively or very often against the Jets. Less than 90 yards a game against them this year.
3rd and 11. Tannehill throwing up the middle, and it's incomplete, in and out of the hands of Clay.
And that just wasn't a very good throw from Ryan Tannehill. That ball kind of floated on him, and Clay has to go up too high. When you're going down the middle, you've got to put the football. Now that would have been a heck of a catch by Charles Clay, but Ryan Tannehill a little upset with himself after that. He would have liked to have given his player a better chance to bring that in.
Kyle Wilson back at his own 10-yard line. Not a great pick from Brandon Fields at all. Floats out of bounds on the near side of the field. This is going to give the Jets pretty good field position. We come back. Well, as promised, it has begun to rain here in South Florida, and the fans suiting up accordingly. Geno Smith, used to things around. Hop, skip, and a jump is where he grew up from this stadium. Dan, he said he could walk home from the stadium after the game.
He said literally his mom and dad live across the street from Sun Life Stadium.
On 1st down, this is Chris Ivory, and Ivory for a couple. Yeah, he said, well, first of all, he's got about 50 or 55 family and friends in attendance here today.
Yeah, Miramar High School is a little farther away. It's 3 miles away, but his family moved. He said his mom will walk to the game today, and he said, as a matter of fact, when I played in the Orange Bowl here a couple of years ago, I threw 6 touchdown passes, and I walked home after the game. Now, not everybody gets to say that.
2nd and 8. Smith throwing and threw it behind his intended receiver, Jeremy Curley. Let's get an update on Baltimore-Cincinnati from New York. JB and Shannon.
Not a good start for Andy Dalton.
Not quite the start they envisioned, JB. First play of the game. Andy Dalton up top. Corey Graham, but he plays for the Ravens. Picks it off, would lead to a Justin Tucker 38-yard field goal. Ravens on top 3-0 over
Baltimore needs a win and some help to get in. Back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, JB, thank you. 3rd and 8 now for Geno Smith and the Jets. Running out of time, spins out of trouble. No one to throw to on this side of the field, so he'll pull it down, and bumped out of bounds. Did he get the first down?
Well, no hook slide for Geno Smith. He really gets whacked by Brent Grimes. Look at Grimes come in, close the sideline, and Geno Smith just doing whatever. Look at him just try to get as close as he can to the first down marker.
He stepped out back at the 42-yard line, so they'll kick it away to Thigpen.
Geno Smith gets an A+ for effort on that.
Thigpen near side of the field at the 12. Shakes one tackler and brings it back close to the 25-yard line. 10:21 to play in the first quarter. A most important game for the Miami Dolphins. We're scoreless.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. FedEx One Rate. Simple flat rate shipping with the reliability of FedEx. And by State Farm. It pays to double check. Talk to your agent today.
Back in Miami, the Dolphins with the ball at their own 25-yard line. And Tannehill from the shotgun on first down. Far side of the field, and that is complete for a first down to Mike Wallace across the 35 at about the 37-yard line.
Well, Mike Wallace now lined up one-on-one with D. Milliner, the first-round pick this year of the Jets. And Milliner has got to respect that speed of Wallace, and you can see the second that Wallace had his shoulders turned, that he turned Milliner's shoulders, he broke the pattern off, and that was an outstanding throw from Tannehill.
28, go, go! This is Miller trying the right side, and not very much there. Let's get back to New York and get updated on the Browns and the Steelers once again. JD Kemp.
Greg, the Steelers' first possession.
This is the way you do it. They need a lot of help, but the first part, they must win. Ben Roethlisberger, Jericho Cotchery, 9 yards, dives into the end zone, 7-0 Steelers over the Browns.
Back to Greg Gumbel and the Hall of Famer, Dan Dierdorf.
All right, guys, thank you. No gain on the play. It'll be 2nd and 10. 28, go! Play fake to Miller this time. Tannehill throwing to this side of the field. And incomplete. Ryan Hartline on the near side, the intended receiver. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Well, it was a deep out by Hartline, and he got a little bit of separation, but that ball looked like it just got away from Ryan Tannehill. I don't know if the ball was a little wet or whatever, but it just was long gone the minute it left his hand.
Tannehill short pop over the middle. Diving catch is made by Marcus Thigpen out of the backfield, and he's going to be marked down a yard short of a first down.
Well, this brings up an interesting decision now for Joe Philbin. He wants to see exactly how far does he have to go on 4th down if he's going to try for it. And I don't see any of the special teams guys coming out.
Here they come now.
Here they come now. And you can hear the crowd. I think Joe realizes he might make a different decision if that was Peyton Manning and the Broncos offense that was on the other side of the football. And I think it's easy to be a little more conservative.
And now the challenge flag has been thrown by Joe Philbin.
And he's going to want to see if the spot is enough to give him a first down.
The Miami coaching staff is challenging the rule of the field of the ball being short of the line to gain.
Wow, he wasn't touched until he got to about the 47 or 47.5 yard line.
Welcome back to Miami, everybody. Don't get confused by where Marcus Thigpen's knee hits the ground. He is not down by contact. He's still alive. He can roll as far as he wants to go until he's actually touched by a member of the New York Jets. So that ball, that forward progress, doesn't end until right about there, and I think he comfortably picks up the first down.
Yeah, it did not appear that the officials took into account where he was touched. They put him down where he landed on the ground.
And he was not down by contact. He went down on his own. So this isn't college football. He can crawl, shimmy, roll, do whatever, and it's still a live football, and he gets all that forward progress.
So Jerome Boger has seen what he needs to see, and he's on his way back onto the field.
And he has to accurately find out exactly where to spot the football.
After reviewing the play, it is the first down. The ball carrier was not touched short of the line of the game. He was not touched until we got to the 47.5-yard line. Miami is not charged a timeout.
That makes the Miami Dolphins 7 out of 8 on replay challenges this season.
Well, smart move by Joe Philbin and his coaching staff from upstairs. And again, I think everybody was just looking at saying, oh, the play's over right there. That's where his knee touches. But again, he was not down by contact. So movement of the chains, and Joe doesn't have to make that tough decision on fourth down.
So it's a first down now for the Dolphins at their own 47.5-yard line.
And by the way, the Jets came with a 7-man pressure on that last play and got burned by the quick throw to Thigpen.
Go, go!
Miller close to midfield. I thought it was pretty funny, Dan. We were talking to Ryan Tannehill after that debacle at Buffalo last week. The Bills won it 19-0. Said he was eager to see the tape from the Buffalo game to see what went wrong, and then he said everything.
Everything, yeah. It was just horrible. They had 103 yards of total offense, and 50 yards of that came in the second half on one pass play to Brian Hartline. That is as anemic as it gets in the NFL. That's anemic for junior high school.
2nd and 9. Tannehill looking this side of the field, and miscommunication there as Hartline kept on going.
Yeah, he's expecting Brian Hartline, because of the tight man coverage by Antonio Cromartie, to break off his route and come back for some sort of a back shoulder throw. You know, so many routes in the National Football League now are option routes that involve the receiver and the quarterback, looking at the coverage through the same set of eyes. And as we see with some regularity, they both see separate things.
3rd and 9. Lots of Jets up on that defensive front. Tannehill looking, throwing, incomplete. Pass intended for Marlon Moore.
And again, that time the coverage by Antonio Cromartie was tight. Cromartie has not had a great year. He's been fighting a hip injury, but check it out. That's excellent coverage. And Tannehill did a good job of getting a football into a very tight window, but the tight window was because of that coverage from Cromartie.
Brandon Fields got off an 18-yard punt his last time.
That's not what got him elected to the Pro Bowl.
Curley. And let it bounce, and it gets into the end zone for the touchback. Jimmy Wilson couldn't cut it off. The Jets and Geno Smith will start from their own 20-yard line after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by ExxonMobil. And by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Hey, how you guys doing? Welcome back to South Florida. Geno Smith and the Jets from their own 20-yard line. Chris Ivory in the backfield. Ivory with the handoff. And ducks inside for about 2, maybe 3 yards. Fantasy football fans, keep the excitement going all postseason with Playoff Challenge. Now with bigger cash prizes. See rules and sign up at cbssports.com/challenge.
You know, Greg, when you look to the future for the Jets, that trade for Chris Ivory that they executed with New Orleans earlier this year has been nothing short of excellent. Ivory has brought them a lot of quality running.
On 2nd and 7, Geno Smith going to pitch it now to Powell. And Powell looking for the first down at the 30-yard line and has it.
Well, the classic option here by Geno. And again, this is a football team that has nothing to lose. So they're going to go deep into the playbook. And Geno does a pretty good job of riding the football in there and bringing it back out. Man, there's a lot of contact there with Tommy Bohannon.
This is Bilal Powell. And Powell barely back to the line of scrimmage. Dan, talking to you, the last couple of days, you've said a team gets a special thrill out of being able to knock someone out of the playoff picture.
Well, you know, I'm sorry, but misery does love company. And if you can't go, you don't ever want to be accused of just flopping the last weekend of the season. And so if you've got a chance to play a really good football game, and if that happens to knock out a division rival, hey, that's too bad.
Geno Smith going to throw, and that's behind Kellen Winslow. Time for another update from New York. Once again, JB and Shannon.
Colts getting off to a good start.
4th and goal, already up by a touchdown. Trent Richardson, his first rushing TD since week 4. 14-0 Colts over the Jags.
No let up in Indianapolis at all. Back to Greg and Dan.
Yeah, guys, those Colts still have an eye on that possible number 2 seed first round bye in the AFC.
Yeah, they need New England and Cincinnati both to lose, but they're doing their part.
3rd and 10. Smith throwing. That is caught at the 45-yard line by David Nelson.
Now there is a big-time throw, and you can see what the Jets at times love about Geno Smith. Going to improvise, come out of the pocket, but without being able to step into that throw at all. Look at the quality that he throws to David Nelson. The knee is down. He lands out of bounds. He's got control of the football. And that's why Marty Morningweg likes going to work every day, trying to grow Geno Smith. He sees flashes like that.
Jets at the Miami 45. This is Ivory. And Ivory to about the 41. A pickup of 4. It'll be 2nd and 6. Yeah, Marty Morningweg was nothing but positive about coming to work and working with Geno Smith and hoping that this continues.
Well, he's already drawn up the plans of the things they're going to work on during the offseason if Rex is retained and if Rex retains Marty. But again, the beneficiary of that would be Geno Smith to have some continuity going from year 1 to year 2.
This is Jeremy Curley running it out of the backfield.
Now that, I don't know how deep they went into the playbook to get that, but I'm not sure that Jeremy Curley at 5'9", 188 is the guy that I want challenging the Dolphins between the tackles. He tripped, went down, but he's hardly Earl Campbell.
Not as fragile as Jet receivers have been this season. 3rd and 5. Smith looking left, throwing left, incomplete. Intended for Santonio Holmes, and Brent Grimes is there.
Well, Brent Grimes is going to the Pro Bowl this year. He just got elected the other day, and it's because of plays like that. Look at the good contact on Holmes, tight coverage, no interference, reaches around, gets a hand on the ball. And Santonio Holmes not able to deal with the physicality that Brent Grimes laid on him right there.
Thigpen stands at his own 10. Fair catch called for and made at the 11-yard line. That's where Tannehill and the Dolphins start with 3:47 to play in a scoreless first quarter.
Super Bowl 48 is coming, and Bud Light is throwing you quite a show.
We'll run the spread, I'll throw the ball, we'll bring our blitz, I'll change the call, and we will be the team to win it all.
Not that kind of show. This kind of show. Use your FanZone app for your chance to unlock the ultimate VIP weekend. We're turning a luxury cruise liner into the Bud Light Hotel in New York City, where you'll party with celebrities, top music artists, and see Super Bowl 48. Download the FanZone app today. Bud Light, here we go.
Here's a question for you. Where does the United States get most of its energy? Is it Africa, the Middle East, Canada, or the US? The answer is the US. Most of America's energy comes from right here at home. Take the energy quiz. Energy lives here.
Get great gifts from the person who knows you best. You. That's powerful. Verizon. Get New Year's countdown deals. Save $50 on select Droid devices like the free Droid Mini.
Join your favorite superstars as they honor Shirley MacLaine, Carlos Santana, Herbie Hancock, and the piano man himself, Billy Joel. It's a memorable night of music at the Kennedy Center Honors. CBS tonight after 60 Minutes. You are watching the NFL on CBS.
Back in Miami from the 11-yard line, Tannehill and the Dolphin offense.
Watch him coming, dude. There you go. Easy, easy. Watch your feet. Watch your feet. Good, go.
Tannehill, play fake, stepping up, throwing, and it is complete. That's Hartline. Hartline across the 35 for a first down.
Boy, Brian Hartline, and he comes up limping as he's heading to the sideline, but he's giving Antonio Cromartie all he can handle. He's going to run a route on Cromartie and spin Cromartie, and Cromartie, you can see, loses his balance and even goes all the way down to put a hand on the ground. But Hartline comes up limping.
Number 14, Marlon Moore, has replaced him in the lineup.
Heads right to the trainer's table over on the sideline.
Go, go.
This is Lamar Miller, and Miller cuts back to about the 40-yard line.
Well, Brian Hartline, with that last reception, goes over 1,000 yards for the second consecutive year. And I'm telling you, this Ohio State wide receiver has really come on. He's a leader in the locker room. 76 catches on the year so far, and this would be a huge loss for Ryan Tannehill if Hartline is out this rest of this game.
2nd and 6, this is Miller. Miller stacked up at the 40 once again. Hey, thought your fantasy season was over? It is not. Play NFL Playoff Challenge. 8 players, 4 rounds. To learn more and sign up, go to NFL.com/fantasy.
Well, the one big thing about that reception by Brian Hartline is that even if the Dolphins don't get a first down, it's going to help them flip the field from a position standpoint. They were just barely outside their own 10-yard line.
It has been a field position first quarter. We've got under 2 minutes to play. 3rd and 6. Tannehill needs the 46 for a first down. Crossing pattern, that is complete and good for a first down to Moore. Moore got the first down and an extra yard to boot.
Well, Marlon Moore, that's only his 5th catch of the year. He's not been a big player in the Miami passing game, but he comes up clutch here. But look at the pocket. Look at Ryan Tannehill. Look at the field of vision that he has as it cleared out, unobstructed view. And the Jets have to be a little disappointed that with a 4-man pass rush that they're not getting any more pressure on Tannehill than they are.
Here you go. Go, go.
This is Daniel Thomas, and Thomas nowhere to go.
Let's go back and look at the conclusion of that reception by Brian Hartline, and let's see if we can see his ankle. Hard to tell from that angle. It looked like he put a lot of pressure on it, but again, I'm not sure if it's an ankle, a knee, or obviously something with his lower leg.
2nd and 9 from the 48.
All the way out. Here you go. Go.
Quick pass, that's complete. And that's a first down to Rashard Matthews.
Well, this is a good-looking drive being put together here by the Miami Dolphins and Ryan Tannehill as they have marched out from the shadow of their own end zone. They are looking like, after a couple early misfires with Tannehill throw, they are now in sync.
They are content to let the time run out, and we come to the end of a scoreless first quarter. Jets nothing, Dolphins nothing. We're back to Sun Life Stadium in Miami right after this. You are watching the NFL on CBS. Back for the start of the second quarter. Dolphins moving left to right on your screen. They are at the Jet 41.
Boy, and the Jets are up playing run. Safety Antonio Allen, he's right up here on the
7
line
guys
of
on that
scrimmage.
front line.
Go!
Lamar Miller with nowhere to go. Let's get an update on that all-important Baltimore-Cincinnati game. JB and Shannon.
Dalton ties Boomer.
Yes, JB, his first 2 possessions, he threw a pick. Andy Dalton says, I'm better than that. 53 yards later, he proves it. A.J. Green, 7-6. Bengals on top of the Ravens.
19 home touchdowns in a season. That ties Boomer Esiason. Back to Greg and Dan.
All right, guys, and the Miami Dolphins desperately want a Cincinnati win there.
Yes, they do. You and I have been to Cincinnati a couple times this year. We know how well they play at home.
That Dalton to Green combo is poked. Miller, straight up the middle to the 30, and a first down.
Wow, the Dolphins just keep generating one big play after another that moves the chains. Take a look at this hole. Outstanding blocking as the Jets' interior defense just disappears, and Dwan Landry, the safety, has to make a tackle. That was extremely well blocked.
We are told by the Dolphins Hartline has suffered a knee injury. His return is questionable. From the 30.
We go Lincoln. 28, go!
Short drop, pass to the outside, incomplete, intended for Mike Wallace.
Well, that's
second and 10.
Yeah, D. Milliner closed quickly on that one. And this has been a real learning experience for the #1 pick from Alabama. He has ridden the roller coaster that a rookie often does. But he gets up there and he closes pretty quickly, and he took away the inside, and Tannehill had to throw it to the outside and just threw it a little too much toward the sideline.
28, go!
Tannehill on the move, throwing this side incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 10.
And again, that time Rashard Matthews, the intended receiver, and he's blanketed by Milliner.
Dave Milliner, shoulder surgery all the way back in March. He missed 2 weeks in August because of an Achilles. He had a slow start to his rookie year.
No, and he's been benched 3 times. He's been coached up on the sidelines while he's had to sit out some series. But Rex Ryan hangs with him. He sees greatness in this kid, and he's having a pretty good first quarter so far.
3rd and 10. Tannehill throwing and wide open at the 15. Caught inside the 10 by Rashard Matthews. It'll be 1st and goal.
Wow, and a huge error by the Jets secondary as they completely blow coverage. Mike Wallace goes to the inside. Milliner goes with him, and somehow the outside quarter of the field completely disregarded. Tannehill is lowered to the ground afterwards, and he could care less after finding a wide open Rashard Matthews downfield.
1st and goal for the Dolphins. Tannehill, end zone, play. Incomplete. Covered by Milliner. Would you think they're picking on number 27 at this stage of the game, Dan?
This series, certainly, Milliner has been at the epicenter of the Dolphins' attack, and you could see that time Milliner not playing the football, but he's playing the receiver. But he's playing his eyes, playing his hands, but smartly staying away where he doesn't interfere. That was that's a different way to play it by Milliner, but very effective.
2nd and goal. The This is Lamar Miller. Miller looking for running room and finds a little bit, squeezes inside the 5 to about the 4.5. Red zone defense for the Jets has been formidable.
Well, the opponent's gotten in there 48 times, but again, surrendering only 21 touchdowns. That's a number that most teams in the NFL would be really proud to have.
3rd and goal.
Pressure or coverage? Let's see what the Jets are going to do here. Pressure.
Tannehill throwing, touchdown. Mike Wallace.
Well, Rex Ryan told us that in the first game he thought Ryan Tannehill was way too comfortable in the pocket. You can't get on a quarterback much quicker than this. Demario Davis has an unobstructed run to it, but that time Milliner too late in coverage on Mike Wallace. Great read by Ryan Tannehill, and he got rid of that football about 1 millisecond before his arm got hit by Davis.
That's 4 consecutive, by my count, 4 consecutive passes to D. Milliner's section of the defense. 7-0 Miami. Dolphins with a 14-play, 89-yard drive that saw them convert 3 third downs out of 3 tries. Taking almost 7 minutes off the clock, and Tannehill 5 out of 8. And a touchdown. This is Antonio Cromartie going to watch it sail out of the end zone. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, the Jets came with pressure, which means it's man coverage. Here's Wallace. Here's Milliner. Wallace is going to sell the corner and then get right back up the seam. And the quick read, before he even makes the break, that ball is in the air. Mike Wallace turns around and looks, and that ball is about 15 feet away from him. And there's a Dolphins fan that has a memento that they'll never forget. And D. Milliner, you know, a corner has no help. Mano-a-mano when you're locked up with a blitz like that.
So Geno Smith in the offense from the 20-yard line. Play fake. Smith on the move. Penalty marker is down, and he's out of bounds at about the 32.
We got multiple flags downfield.
Looks like it'll be against Miami. First indication.
Prior to the run, holding, defense, number 20. The 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
So Rashad Jones, the safety, guilty of the hold.
Yeah, it's not, you know, because Geno already ran for the first down. The really tough part of that penalty isn't applicable, but an extra 5 tacked on.
Chris Ivory spins across the 40 and is pulled back to about the 37. Forward progress will be marked at the 41-yard line again. The Dolphins looking for a win here, and first and foremost, a Baltimore loss at Cincinnati. And right now the Ravens trail the Bengals 7-6 early in the second quarter.
Now they have a fallback position, and that would be if San Diego beats Kansas City later this afternoon.
This is Chris Ivory. And Ivory right at the first down marker at the 47-yard line.
That's why if you're playing the percentages, Greg, of all the teams fighting for that number 6 seed, the Dolphins have mathematically the best chance. But they got to take care of business right here at home first, or the rest doesn't matter.
Now we're going to get a measurement here. The Jets have quickly moved out to the 47 in midfield from their own 20-yard line. And just a scoot short of the first down.
Well, if you're Rex Ryan, and let's just say that if this was 4th down, you're going to go for it. It gives you a little luxury on 3rd down to maybe take a shot downfield or try something a little more of a low percentage play, but a big play if you've already made up your mind that if you don't get anything with it, that you're going to go for it on 4th.
He has Bilal Powell in the backfield. On 3rd and inches. Geno Smith can run very well. Powell, no.
Not even close. They actually lost yardage on that play.
Misi coming off the corner, made the hit.
And Rex is going to punt. DeBrickashaw Ferguson gets driven into the backfield. What a great upfield surge that time by Jared Odrick. And boy, how frustrating that is for Marty Morningweg and the coaching staff.
Thigpen at the 12 and yanked back to the 15-yard line by Isaiah Trufant. That's where the Dolphins will start right after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. Holiday savings on the gifts everyone wants. Warner Brothers Pictures Grudge Match, now playing. And by the all-new 2014 Jeep Cherokee, built free.
Hey, this new year, get a little crazy with Robin Williams and the Crazy Ones. New episode Thursday at 9, 8 Central, only CBS. 7-0 Miami, the Dolphins at their own 16-yard line. Lamar Miller starting this series in the backfield. Will take the handoff.
Well, the Miami Dolphins on their touchdown possession were kind of really working on D. Milliner. First time good coverage. Now they try Charles Clay. Good coverage again. But then finally, Mike Wallace shakes loose on a little out and in, and it left Milliner in the dust. And he paid the price for the Jets' pressure that just was a shade late in getting to Ryan Tannehill.
Just short of the 20-yard line, 2nd and 7 for the Dolphins. Tannehill with time, lots of time, and over the middle, incomplete. Rashard Matthews was the man over the middle, but boy, did Tannehill have a day and a half to throw.
He most certainly did. Play action fake, and again, a great job of blocking up front, and none of the pass rushers for the Jets are able to shake the offensive lineman in front of them. And kudos to the secondary of the Jets. They had to cover for a long time, and they did.
So now it's 3rd and 7. Tannehill, deeper drop, gonna go deep down the sideline. Wallace incomplete.
And Ryan Tannehill is beside himself because he's got the little stutter, step, and go. Mike Wallace is a good 2 yards ahead of D. Milliner, and what has been a recurring problem, Ryan Tannehill just has trouble dropping that ball in on the really deep throws to Mike Wallace. That chemistry, the precision in that deep passing game has been very inconsistent.
Curley drifting back at his own 22-yard line. And is dropped at the 28. 8:41 to play in the first half. Miami up a touchdown. Geno Smith, the hometown kid, back on offense after this.
Well, no turnovers in this game so far by either team. Not trying to put the hex on anybody, but anytime you're doing a New York Jet game and they play a quarter without a turnover,
it does seem to be a topic of discussion.
It deserves to be documented.
Smith on the move, throwing, and that is complete and out of bounds across the 35-yard line is Greg Salas, the third-year wide receiver.
Yeah, we have to talk about the turnovers because take a look at that. They're minus 17. They were in the 20s. They're just tied for last right now, but the giveaways, and again, they're not getting it from the other side. Extremely disappointed that they only have 12 takeaways on the entire season. That is just not like a typical Rex Ryan defense.
Hey, 5-2. Well, we're good.
Pick up a 6 on the play, 2nd and 4. Smith with time. And a rocket over the middle, and that's complete across the 45 to about the 47-yard line. Let's get an update on the Browns and the Steelers. JB and Shannon.
Greg, Steelers are doing their part.
Yes, and the Ravens are cooperating a little bit, JB, but Le'Veon Bell, 5 yards, barrels his way into the end zone. 14-0, Steelers over the Browns.
Pittsburgh needs a win and a lot of help. Back to Greg Gumbel and Dan Dierdorf.
All right, guys, and the Steelers need losses by Miami, Baltimore, and San Diego, as well as a victory. First down. Bilal Powell. Powell running room across midfield into Miami territory at the Dolphin 47.5.
Now, good first down play makes the play calling a whole lot easier when you can get a good surge like that. All of a sudden, the whole playbook opens up for Marty Mornhinweg and Geno Smith. Marty Mornhinweg is unfailing in his support of his rookie quarterback.
Geno Smith throwing. And that's complete to about the 25-yard line to Santonio Holmes.
And again, the ball is driven by Geno Smith. It kind of tails off at the end. He wasn't able to step into it, and Holmes does a pretty good job of going down there and digging it out.
So here are the Jets now knocking on the door at the 25-yard line. 6.5 minutes to play here in the first half. Smith on the move, turning the corner and out of bounds, short of the 20.
You know, and it's one of the things that the Jets coaching staff talked to Geno Smith about earlier in the year, that there were just too many opportunities every game for you to create something with your feet. And Geno was reluctant to do it. He was so locked in and trying to make the right progression, the right read. You know, he even used the term, I've become almost robotic. But that's something that he can do, and the Jets coaches are encouraging him to move the sticks with your legs.
This 50-yard drive, the longest by the Jets today. This is Powell, and Powell to the 15, to the 13.
And I tell you, when Geno Smith gets outside, Greg, and he gets away, those defensive ends are just a half a step slower to get to the inside on their gap responsibilities if they think that they're going to get burned to the outside. And Geno's running can open up things for Bilal Powell, for Ivory. It's a real domino effect.
They mark him down at the 14, but it's enough for a first down for the Jets. Smith on the slant, and that is Holmes, close to the 5-yard line.
Well, look at Miami. We saw the Jets were ranked 4th in their red zone defense, and here are the Dolphins that are ranked right behind them at 5th. But right now, there is a rhythm that's been developed by this Jets offense. You can see it. They are working every aspect of the field, run and pass, and they're in a nice little flow right now.
2nd and 2. Smith. And that quick pass to Curley doesn't get anywhere.
Well, trying to run a screen where they're getting Brian Winters and Mangold out in front, but no chance to develop. Nice little hands catch by Curley that just gets him smoked.
3rd and 2.
Couldn't get his O-line out in front of him quickly enough.
time. Got the snap off, lobbing it for the end zone, wide open, and
whistle blew.
Timeout called by Miami.
Prior to the snap, timeout, Miami. They're first.
Wow.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Aflac. When you're sick or hurt, Aflac pays you cash. Find out more at aflac.com. And by Bank of America.
So the Jets will try to do this again now. 3rd and 2 from the 6-yard line. They can get a first down without getting a touchdown.
And the reason there was confusion in the end zone about the timeout, Joe Philbin actually called it from the Dolphins sideline. It was granted that, and the DBs saw it, so they didn't cover. But I think when Gino dropped back, he got awfully excited there. See Curley so wide open in the end zone.
By the way, Cincinnati has now gone up on Baltimore 10-6 with 6.5 to play in the first half. 3rd and 2. Smith gonna run it, has the first down, leaping, looking for the end zone, and he's gonna be marked down short of the goal line.
Well, a designed run all the way for Geno Smith. And again, when you've got an athletic quarterback, it's just the defense, it's hard to defend it. And for the second time, we see Geno Smith today selling out at the end of a running play. Remember his collision on the sideline with Brent Grimes? That time Clemens upends him. And I don't think that the Jets want to. It's the last game of the season, so I guess it doesn't matter. But you hate to see your quarterback.
Sheldon Richardson straight ahead for the touchdown.
Well, the Jets have put him at the fullback position, their #1 draft pick defensive lineman. They put him in that position a lot this season. And look, he makes a nice little adjustment. Takes a nice little step to the left, lowers his shoulder, and none of the Miami defensive backs wanted anything to do with this.
We talked with Sheldon last night. Do you think he had an inkling at all?
He's got a lot of energy. I said, how would you describe yourself? And he goes, I've got a high motor. And I mean it. I just don't stop.
Nick Folk's extra point is good with 3:20 to play in the first half on a touchdown by Sheldon Richardson. The Jets come back and tie Miami at 7. A lot of joking, a lot of smiles, a lot of congratulations for Sheldon Richardson, the first-round draft pick out of Missouri, his 2nd rushing touchdown of the season for the New York Jets.
And you know what? If you're going to ask the big guy to go back there and do a lot of the heavy lifting by being the lead blocker, hey, throw him a bone every now and then. Give him what? And you know what? That fires up everybody on the whole team. That keeps all the players. That keeps all the players' interest peaked. And not to mention the fact he looked mighty comfortable carrying that football.
Yes, he did. Marcus Thigpen is deep, and he'll run this one out of the end zone. Back to the 20, back to the 25, back to the 30. Nice return by Marcus Thigpen. Miami Dolphins can clinch a wild card with a win and a Baltimore loss. And right now the Ravens trail Cincinnati 10-6 with less than 5 minutes to play in the first half, or a San Diego win later this afternoon out on the West Coast against the Kansas City Chiefs.
And if the Dolphins could win this game, that San Diego game, you got to wonder how many players Andy Reid's going to play for the Chiefs, how hard he's going to go after that. With people like Alex Smith, Jamal Charles, and even play.
Tannehill on first down. Little flip from Miller. Miller across the 35 to about the 37. Yeah, because the Kansas City Chiefs are locked into that number 5 slot in the AFC playoffs.
Yeah, whether they win or lose in San Diego means absolutely zero to the Chiefs. So you're right. And Andy Reid in the past in Philadelphia has shown that when he's in that situation, he rests a lot of his starters.
Second and 6, 2:40 to play in the first half. Tannehill throwing, and that's incomplete. Fans want a flag, and they get one.
Well, again, it's D. Milliner, this time against Mike Wallace. And D. Milliner is, as he has found himself a lot this season, right in the middle of things. I think you can tell by the look on his face that he thinks his coverage was pretty good.
Well, there's an extensive discussion about it.
There is no foul for pass interference on the play. The action is occurred simultaneously with the ball getting there. Second down.
And that is a good call. You could, if you want to pull out the microscope and the stopwatch, maybe you could see where it was maybe a microsecond early, but DBs, I think, deserve the benefit of the doubt in that situation.
Tannehill now 3rd and 6. And has time. And coming across the field and dropping it is Rashard Matthews, and he had a lot of room to run.
Wow. You're fighting for a playoff spot. You need a win desperately. You can't afford to leave chain-moving plays on the field, and that's exactly what that was. That was an automatic first down for Matthews.
And then some.
Yep. And you needed to keep that drive alive on the heels of the Jets putting together a really impressive touchdown drive on their last possession.
Brandon Fields kicking it away to Jeremy Curley. Booms one out of there. Curley going to let this one fly, and it goes into the end zone for the touchback.
Well, I just mentioned that last drive of the Jets, and it was quality. 71 yards. Jeremy Curley. Geno gets another one to Santonio Holmes. And then this effort by Geno Smith to get the ball down to the 1-yard line, where Sheldon Richardson in at fullback finishes it off. Geno Smith was outstanding on that last drive. And if anyone was wondering what kind of an effort the Jets were going to put forth today in a game that doesn't matter to them in terms of the playoffs, I think that's been answered. They came to play, and they're playing hard.
Here are the Jets now from their own 20-yard line with 2:21 to play in the first half, and Smith to throw. Quick slant, complete to Curley. That'll be a first down to about the 32.
Well, Rex Ryan is, again, it's got to be uncomfortable for a coach. You're trying to maintain focus. You want your team focused, and yet so much of the discourse is about whether or not you're going to return as head coach.
We reached the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play here in the first half in Miami. We're tied at 7. A reminder, the Verizon halftime report upcoming. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and the coach will have scores, highlights, playoff scenarios coming up on the Verizon halftime report.
How can Dan be in New York and be here at the same time? He really is talented.
Hey, you guys are down here.
And everywhere.
Bring him down. Bring him down. Bring him off. Go out. Go out.
On first down. This is Powell. Powell running room left side, trying to duck outside. That is brought down at about the 37-yard line by Jimmy Wilson.
Well, a nice jump cut there, though, by Bilal Powell. That was really slick. There was absolutely nothing off left guard. He broke contain with a shifty little lateral move.
Jets have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Miami has 2. Geno Smith on the move, throws, and off the hands and the shoulder of Powell. That'll stop the clock with 1.5 minutes to play.
Well, Geno gave up an awful lot of ground right there. And again, that ball just needed to be out in front of Powell, not on his back shoulder. He still should have caught it, but it certainly would have impeded what he could have done with it by having to turn 3/4 of the way around to try to make the catch. But still, it was on his hands. You got to catch it.
So now it's 3rd and 5. Smith looks this way, throws this way, complete and out of bounds to Santonio Holmes for a first down at the 47.
And Santonio Holmes given a monstrous cushion by Rashad Jones. And that was a pretty easy pitch and catch between Gino and Santonio. That was really not well played by the secondary of the Dolphins.
Holmes with 3 catches for 41 yards on the day.
And Miami takes a timeout.
So Miami down to 1 timeout now. The Jets with all 3 of theirs remaining.
And that's given their field position, that is plenty of time for the New York Jets to just run about any part of their offense that they would like. And let's talk a little bit here about Geno Smith. Coming back home to South Florida, and if there's a comfort level that comes with getting back close to home, Geno appears to have entered it. 8 out of 12, doesn't have a touchdown, but he doesn't have a turnover. But he's their leading rusher. He's run the ball 4 times for 25 yards, and a couple of those ended with him really laying himself out there to pick up some extra yards. He's playing really well so far.
This is Powell. And Powell the midfield.
Now here's where they got to get up there. Either take a timeout or get up there and move with a little more alacrity than they're moving right now.
Jets only had 177 total yards in their first meeting with the Dolphins. They've got 167 today so far. 1 minute to play. Geno Smith over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Cumberland, the tight end, and Philip Wheeler was with him, and we have a penalty marker down.
Now Geno ended up on the ground. Oh, we can see there, I think it's going to be a holding call.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 52. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Wheeler was covering Jeff Cumberland on the play.
And there's Wheeler right in the middle, and he's got man coverage on Cumberland. Oh, and he's just got his right hand yanking the jersey. You can get away with a jersey yank inside 5 yards as long as it's not too visible, but Philip Wheeler kept the hand on the jersey of Cumberland for about 12 yards downfield.
So the Jets at the Miami 45. 57 seconds on the clock. They give us to Bohannon, and Bohannon straight ahead.
I take a timeout right here. Stop the clock.
And that's what they will do. Meanwhile, Cincinnati now with a 17-6 lead on the Baltimore Ravens.
Which, of course, is what Miami likes to see, but the fact that Jets are driving against them, they're not, if they're doing scoreboard watching, shame on them. They need to take care of the business at hand, and right now the Jets aren't being the least bit cooperative.
About a minute and a half remaining to be played in that first half in Cincinnati.
So 51 seconds here, and still 2 timeouts are available to the Jets. And keep in mind that Geno Smith has been making some noise, getting outside and running with the football. So that's something the Dolphins, if they're not thinking about, they better.
Easy. Ohio.
Geno is left because the play is broken down, and he's left on a designed run.
Bohannon again, and Bohannon for a first down. And a timeout again. Stops the clock with 47 seconds to play. That's a first down for the Jets at the 33. A reminder once again, the Verizon halftime report coming up with JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Bill Cowher with scores, highlights, playoff scenarios. You want it, they got it. Coming up on the Verizon halftime report.
Well, the Jets now with 1 timeout remaining. They still can run any part of their offense they want to, but I'd be trying to get into the end zone. I know that that's the object of the game, but you're looking at about a 50-yard field goal where they are right now. You got a first down. Try to get some chunk yardage here.
Jets with 1 timeout remaining. Smith, deep, caught inside the 5-yard line by David Nelson.
And that is called chump yardage. David Nelson, who's quietly been having a nice little season for the Jets, right here against pretty solid coverage. That was just a sensational throw by Geno Smith.
First and goal, Smith rolling. Penalty marker is thrown, and that pass is incomplete as Smith threw it away. And this looks like it'll be against the Jets.
Well, the Jets were trying to get up there to run a play as quickly as they could.
Offense. There were only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty.
And oftentimes when you're in that big of a hurry, somebody doesn't line up where they're supposed to. But they still have that timeout where they can stop it if they have to try a field goal. But right now they're thinking touchdown all the way.
Pre-snap penalties have been a thorn in Rex Ryan's side this season.
Not a category in which he'd like to lead the league.
So the line of scrimmage is the 7. That's the first Jets penalty today. On first and goal, Smith looking this way, throwing it, and overthrows incomplete. Intended for David Nelson, who is well covered by Rashad Jones. Second and goal, 13 seconds on the clock.
Well, again, a reminder that I would assume the Dolphins are talking about on their side of the ball is that Geno Smith will take off with the ball. Remember they were down here in the red zone before, and they ran a designed run with Geno.
On second and goal, Smith under pressure, throwing incomplete for Curley at the goal line.
Boy, Jimmy Wilson was draped all over Curley. Man coverage right there. Curley gets to the inside, and Jimmy Wilson, I think, is really fortunate that he didn't get flagged. That was a South Florida heavy-duty contact play right there. He's lucky that the yellow flag didn't come flying out.
11th play of this drive. Smith going to keep it. To the end zone. Yes, touchdown.
Again, the designed run by Geno Smith, and the Dolphins not accounting for it.
And Rex Ryan all the way down at the goal line, cheering his team on before he comes back to midfield.
Well, it looked at the last second like Geno Smith wasn't going to get in. He got stood up at the 1-yard line right there, and then bang, he gets a lot of help. Was that Bilal Powell? I think Powell comes in at the end, number 29, and he pops Geno Smith and knocks his quarterback right into the end zone.
Folks, extra point is good, and with 3 seconds to play in the first half, the Jets have grabbed a 14-7 lead.
Well, that was a sensational drive by the New York Jets. And look at that blocking up front. Brian Winters, the left guard, gets over there. Big Willie Colon out in front. Got a nice double team. Austin Howard at right tackle. And it was, again, here comes Powell. If there was ever any doubt as to whether Geno was going to get into the end zone, Bilal Powell helps him out.
And Rex Ryan was on the far side of the field, down at about the 5-yard line, doing a fist pump as Geno Smith went into the end zone.
Well, congratulations to the Jets offensive players for how well they executed that. Marty Morningweg called a beautiful series of plays. And right now, you don't need me to tell you, if you're a Miami fan, you have your hands full. And if you missed it at the very beginning, Geno Smith's parents live across the street from this stadium.
Literally across the street.
Walking distance to this stadium. And he has over 50 friends and relatives here, and he is playing very well.
That Baltimore-Cincinnati game has gone to halftime with the Bengals leading 17-6. This one rolled along the ground and gathered up and out of bounds by Thigpen. So Tannehill will come on for one play before the teams head for the locker room.
Well, given the field position, I think the popular play among a lot of NFL coaches is just kneel and head into the locker room. We'll see if the Dolphins want to try to throw a long ball and get some sort of a penalty on the Jets or a miracle.
Did you hate playing against a team that had nothing to lose?
Absolutely, because they play generally they play loose and they play hard. Now occasionally you'll get the team that's out of the playoffs. Their cars are packed and sometimes they won't play hard. Not the case here today with the Jets, at least for the first 30 minutes. They're giving the Dolphins more than they can handle.
Well, it has not gone according to script for the Miami Dolphins. They have Baltimore on the losing end, but the Dolphins are too. 14-7 Jets. Back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. Tannehill throwing and wide open at the 15 by Rashard Matthews. Tannehill throwing, touchdown, Mike Wallace. Sheldon Richardson straight ahead for the touchdown. Welcome back to Sun Life Stadium in Miami, everyone, where the New York Jets are leading the Miami Dolphins by a score of 14-7.
Out here. These two, 52, 26. Let's go. Leo. Go.
Football like you've never heard it, presented by Sonos. Welcome back, everyone. Greg Gumbel along with Dan Deerdorf here in Miami as we get set for the second half. And Happy New Year to you and yours from all of us here at CBS Sports. I thought it was a pretty impressive first half for the New York Jets, especially defensively.
Especially defensively and especially Geno Smith. And they are playing like a team that doesn't feel any pressure. This is a playoff game for the Miami Dolphins. If they lose, they're out. And you've got to wonder, as we go into the last 30 minutes of this game, Greg, is whether or not the pressure is going to start to show on the Miami Dolphins, because they've got it squarely on their shoulders. The Jets have none.
Meanwhile, the Dolphins will go into this second half with nothing new, at least from the team, on the condition of wide receiver Brian Hartline, who hurt his knee in the first half and did not return to action. Antonio Cromartie will run this one out of the end zone. And he's going to get wrestled down. No, shakes the tackler, but he's down about the 11-yard line. Let's take a look at some first half numbers. A first half that was pretty much dominated by the New York Jets.
Well, and again, the key stat that you zero in on every time the Jets play a football game is the turnover. And there hasn't been a turnover in this game. And we said early on, if the Jets, and specifically Geno Smith, can play a game without any turnovers, they've got a really, really better than 50-50 chance of winning this game. They have lost the games they have lost because they've turned it over.
Just 28 rushing yards in the first half for the Miami Dolphins, and this is Bilal Powell getting it started. And may have gotten a yard, and right off the bat, we get a penalty marker.
Holding, offense, number 66. Half the distance to the goal, replay, first down.
Willie Colon, the right guard.
He's right there on the right side. He's going to come down, do a double team with center Nick Mangold, and he just grabs.
That's not a hold. That's a first-class takedown.
He grabbed Paul Soley by the shoulders, spun him, and threw it. And by the way, throwing Paul Soley, no easy task. All 345 pounds of him. It looks to me like Miami declined the penalty because the play only went for about a foot.
So it is second and 9. Powell to about the 15.
This is really a critical series for Miami defensively. They've got the bonus of having the Jets inside their own 20-yard line. You're trailing in a football game by a touchdown. You need a little something to feel good about, and a 3 and out here by the defense for Miami would be huge.
3rd and 6, and the Jets need the 21-yard line for a first down. Geno Smith throwing, and that is complete to about the 20.
Well, that's going to be short of the first down.
To Curley, and that is about a yard shy.
And that's a good job by the Dolphins defensively. They got exactly what they were talking about. No question, Joe Philbin at halftime said, look, a 3 and out, that's what we need from our defense. And now the question is going to be whether their offense can do anything about it.
Second 3 and out of the day for the New York Jets, who have the second most 3 and outs in the league. Thigpen. That is 31. And knocked out of bounds close to the 40-yard line by Ellis Lankster.
Well, Ryan Tannehill today has not had statistically a real strong first half. A lot of miscues. He's 10 of 22. You can see he couldn't find Brian Hartline. That was Hartline's last reception before he went out. Now, he did have the nice touchdown pass to Mike Wallace, but 10 of 22 for 118 yards. Now, he does have that one touchdown, but wow, an NFL quarterback in today's pass-happy league that's below 50% isn't very happy with those numbers.
And the offense back on the field for Miami minus Hartline.
28, go!
Tannehill on the move. They have to throw it away. 2nd and 10. Being chased by Damon Harrison.
And Brian Hartline again on the sidelines with a baseball hat. His gloves are off. He has the look of a guy who's not coming back. He caught this pass from Tannehill, and then as he went down, he somehow twisted his knee, and he has not played a single snap since that play. And he's looking like a guy who's not going to play anymore this afternoon.
That means more of Rashard Matthews and more of Marlon Moore and more of Charles Clay for Ryan Tannehill. This is Lamar Miller. Penalty marker down.
Well, you can see Jerome Bogert's holding against the Dolphins.
Offense, number 51. 10-yard penalty.
That's the center, Mike Pouncey.
Mike Pouncey got elected to his first Pro Bowl. #1 pick 3 years ago, back in 2011.
What did he tell us yesterday? He says, I think we're the only team in the NFL with pads on in week 17.
Well, they deserved it. They're 4 guys that are going to the Pro Bowl. Cameron Wake and Grimes going to their multiples, but Pouncey and Fields getting their first taste of Hawaii.
So 2nd and 20. Quick pass to the outside. Wallace. And Wallace going to be marked down at about the 27.5, maybe the 28-yard line. Calvin Pace with the tackle.
Well, you need some blocks out in front of a screen like that, and they just weren't there for the Dolphins. Good pursuit by the Jets defensively. And now this is a trouble down. Bad things can happen on 3rd and 21, especially against a team that's willing to take chances like the Jets.
28, go! Huh? 39. Right, Leo, we got 39.
Jets not showing pressure.
28, go!
Tannehill going to pull it down and run with it, and lots of room right up the middle, and sliding down at midfield.
Now keep in mind, when you hook slide, you don't get forward progress. So they're going to spot the ball right where Ryan Tannehill sat down. Again, the Jets just coming with 4.5. They had a little delayed blitz, but the whole field open in front of Tannehill. But it's over right there. The minute he goes down, wherever that football was, that's where it needs to be spotted.
And they will measure.
There's no forward progress involved, even though you weren't down by contact. When you give yourself up, if you want the protection, you sacrifice the yardage that comes afterwards.
This will be really close. Not all that close.
Well, I don't think Miami has a choice. I think they got to go for it. But you get a chance to come so close to converting a third and really long. I don't think you pass up the opportunity.
So Tannehill and the offense remain on the field for 4th and inches.
I don't think there's any question. You don't sacrifice field position like this.
Number 33, Daniel Thomas, has checked into the Miami backfield.
The biggest snap of the game for the Dolphins to this point.
Charles Clay also in the backfield.
Go, go!
Clay.
Oh, I don't know.
Didn't make it.
I don't think he got there. I don't think he got back to the line of scrimmage. Wow, what a disappointing surge by the Miami offensive line.
Really wasn't much of a surge, was there?
No. Here are the two Jets that win their battle by getting upfield. Damon Harrison and Sheldon Richardson. They get upfield. They fight through the blocks, especially Harrison. He stood up the Miami offensive line.
And here's Bilal Powell, and Powell off the right side for a couple to about the 45. You don't think Rex Ryan is fired up? Take a look at Rex on the far side of the field.
There's Rex standing over there. Watch this. Watch Rex when he realizes he didn't get it. Demonstrates about a good 3/4 inch vertical leap.
Yeah, this game doesn't mean anything to him.
Illegal
A little
block in the
fired
back. Offense, number 10. 10-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
So that illegal block pinned on Santonio Holmes.
You got to wonder if this isn't Santonio Holmes' last game with the New York Jets. He counts for a huge salary cap number next year. And
he has said he wants to be back.
Right. But he hasn't been healthy, hasn't had a great deal of production this year. I'm not sure it makes financial sense for the Jets to keep him.
Geno Smith throwing. That is complete, and wrapped up at the 40-yard line is Bohannon, or excuse me, Bilal Powell by Donnell Ellerbe.
Well, that's the way you want your middle linebacker to fly to the football. And Ellerbe, a big free agent signing from Baltimore here for the Dolphins. He got there, and that is a legal tackle. His forearm hits the face mask. He didn't grab it. Good no call by the official.
2nd and 22. Short pop over the middle. That's Curley. And Curley across the 45. We get another update from New York. JB and Shannon.
Boy, Dalton.
Andy Dalton's doing everything he can to keep the Ravens in this ball game. Unfortunately, the Ravens offense won't participate in helping him out. 3 interceptions leads to 3 field goals. 17-9. Bengals on top of the Ravens.
They refuse to participate, Shannon.
Refuse to, JP.
Greg Gumbel, Dan Deardorff.
All right, guys. The Cincinnati Bengals looking for a perfect season at home. They're 7-0 at home going in.
Greg, how many teams throw 3 interceptions and have the lead?
3rd and 15. Geno on the move. Looking for running room, finding some running room, and diving forward to about the 41-yard line.
Boy, Geno Smith out of the pocket is just killing the Dolphins today. He is making it happen here. Back home in South Florida, that's going to be a punting situation, but he is making it hard on them. Talk about a guy who's playing relaxed.
So Thigpen back at his own 10-yard line. And Ryan Quigley will try to drop this one deep, and here's penalty mark. This is against Miami. This is a bad mistake.
Trying to figure out if it was a false start or a neutral
False
draw.
start.
Yeah.
Offense, number 40. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
A call against Miami would have given the Jets.
Well, that's
a
what
first
the
down.
discussion was over, whether it was a neutral zone infraction by Miami or the false start. And after talking to just about everybody on the officiating crew, they went with the false start.
Quigley lofts it up. Thigpen going to let it bounce. And it takes a Jets bounce. And it's going to be downed and right around the 10-yard line by Demario Davis. 8:52 to play. Third quarter. Jets by a touchdown.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Domino's. Visit Domino's.com. And by the redesigned Honda Odyssey. Honda, start something special.
$14-7 Jets, Miami from their own 10-yard line.
28, go!
Tannehill. And underthrew his receiver, Mike Wallace, on the far side of the field. There's a world of difference between what's happening today and what happened the last time these teams met.
Well, when they met in New York, it resulted in Geno Smith being benched at halftime. Matt Sims came in for the second half. It was just a complete Miami domination. And today, other than one really good drive by the Miami Dolphins, they've done very little against this Jets defense.
Go, go!
On second and 10, Lamar Miller. Miller, not much there, just a couple of yards. Damon Harrison with the tackle. Let's get another update from New York. JB and Shannon.
Shannon, there is no quit in the Falcons.
They're back on top, JB, thanks to Matt Ryan. 39 yards. Roddy White. 17-10. Falcons over Carolina.
Back to Greg Gumbel, Dan Deardorff.
Lots on the line for the Carolina Panthers today.
And the Falcons in the same position as the Jets. Nothing to play for other than their collective pride and a chance to ruin it for one of your divisional opponents.
Here's a 3rd and 8 for Tannehill. Here come the Jets. Tannehill throwing to the 25 and a first down. Mike Wallace with the catch.
Well, good throw that time by Ryan Tannehill. A good dart. Just a quick inside post pattern. Mike Wallace gets to the top of his stem, breaks it off to the inside, and D. Milner not in a position to be able to make a play on the football. A much needed first down for Miami.
Tannehill 12 out of 26 for 130 yards and a touchdown. Miller, right side. Miller turning and comes to within a yard of another first down.
Well, Lamar Miller played his college football right here in Miami. Shows a little leg drive here. Damon Harrison on his legs. D. Milliner on his back. In comes Landry. David Harris over on the other side. He took everybody for an extra couple.
By the way, Kyle Wilson has a knee injury, will not return for the Jets today. This pass to the near side is complete to Matthews, and Matthews has the first down at about the 39-yard line.
And right now, Ryan Tannehill having to spread the football around because he doesn't have Brian Hartline. Brian Hartline has been Tannehill's go-to guy for the last couple of years, which have been the extent of Ryan Tannehill's pro career. And without Brian Hartline, he's being forced a little bit outside of his comfort zone.
New set of downs at the 39-yard line. Play clock down to 4, 3, 2, one, and he got the snap off the time, and the give is to Miller. And Miller across the 45 to about the 47-yard line. Hey, your favorite superstar performers honor Shirley MacLaine, Carlos Santana, Herbie Hancock, Martina Arroyo, and Billy Joel. The Kennedy Center honors tonight after 60 minutes only. CBS.
Well, another good drive, and there's only been one for the Dolphins so far, but another one is at least in its infancy here, considering they started back at their own 10-yard line.
On the 2nd and 3, Tannehill with a throw and got his man, and that's Matthews just tripped up at the 35, and he's down at the 33, and it's another first down.
I don't know if that was Landry that got a hand on him. I'm not sure who did it. There's Cromartie right there. Oh, it's Ed Reed. It's Ed Reed. Ed comes across and just gets a hand on the ankle of Rashard Matthews, and that truly was a touchdown-saving tackle.
Matthews was in full stride. First down now at the 33. Low snap handled by Tannehill, and Miller straight ahead inside the 30. Let's go back to that tackle.
Well, Ed Reed, a master of the interception, never known as a great tackler. Right there, got his right hand on the right ankle, and that was going to be it. Now Matthews trying to jump out of Ed Reed's way, kind of tangled his feet up a little bit, but Ed was in the right place at the right time. Talk about another guy coming back to Miami.
On 2nd and 6, Tannehill gonna go for it all. Far side of the field, it is incomplete. Mike Wallace looked like he had a chance to catch it.
Well, D. Milliner is getting more than his fair share of work here this afternoon. And again, he's got Mike Wallace, and he doesn't play the football. You can see Milliner coming in, and he got there early. There's no question, but he, in real time, happening that quickly, again, he gets the benefit of the doubt and no flag. But he is running the chance of a flag by not playing the ball, by playing the receiver.
Tannehill going to go back to that side of the field, and this time the diving interception by Milliner. And a late flag thrown in.
Well, that appeared to be a great effort.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 96. Contact with a player away from the ball. New York keeps the ball after the 15-yard penalty.
Let's see how close this is. Oh, from that angle, he appears to have kept the ball. It looked to me like he kept it off the ground. I'm sure everybody's going to be taking a close look at that during this timeout.
Instant redemption if it holds.
All right, welcome back to Miami. I think that D. Milliner keeps this ball off the ground. Watch him control it, and it does not touch the ground, and he cradles it on his chest. Now, Mike Wallace is going to tap him down right there, but then he's going to get hit by Muhammad Wilkerson, who is coming back to block.
And Wilkerson gets flagged for the personal foul.
Well, the play on the field was called an interception.
The rule on the field is confirmed. It is an interception.
Yeah,
the ball never touched the ground. First down, New York.
So they've been picking on number 27 and picking on him and picking on him, and D. Milliner gets his second interception of the year.
The bad news for the Jets, though, is that they lost 15 yards because of the penalty call on Wilkerson, because he's coming back to help out. He thinks Milliner's going to get up and run with it.
By the way, Baltimore has come back to tie Cincinnati at 17 with about 5 minutes to play in the third quarter.
I got my 5-9.
The Jets now from their own 11 with the ball and the one touchdown lead. Smith for about 3. Let's get you to New York. James Brown Shannon Sharp.
Greg, you mentioned it. Here's how it happened.
Yeah, this game was a lot closer than what it really should be. 8 yards, Joe Flacco, Marlon Brown. 2-point conversion by Ray Rice. We have a tie ball game in Cincinnati, 17-17.
The ever alert Greg Gumbel.
Thank you, JB. The Ravens can make it to the wild card with a win and a San Diego and a Miami loss. Still a long ways to go. That pass to the far side of the field is complete for the first down. So once again, Miami, first and foremost, needs a win here to keep any hope alive. Then they need either a Baltimore loss or a San Diego win out in California against Kansas City later today.
And as you saw at the bottom, it doesn't matter what anybody else does if Miami can't bring home the bacon. Here, if they lose, they are out.
First down from the 23. That's complete to David Nelson. And David Nelson is a really nice, big target for Geno Smith.
Oh, he sure is. You know, it's nice to have a receiver, a 6'5", and again, he's back playing his college football up at Gainesville at Florida, but what an inviting target for a receiver who's that tall. And he's really come on nicely in the second half of the year.
Nelson, 3 catches for 61 yards today. On 2nd and 4, this is Powell, and Powell pulls his way across the 30 to about 32, and it'll be about a yard short of a first down.
Well, there's only been 1 turnover in this game so far, and it's been Ryan Tannehill's interception. And if you'd have told any Dolphins fans coming into this game that their quarterback was going to have more turnovers than the Jets quarterback, they wouldn't have been very optimistic about winning the game.
3rd and 1. Powell looking for the first down and appears to have it at the 34. Meanwhile, Geno Smith has hit the 3,000-yard mark throwing.
Yeah, well, it's those 2 numbers over on the right, though, that really bother him and everyone else when you've got that many more interceptions and touchdown passes. 12 picks. 12 touchdowns and 21 picks. Hard to win doing that.
Smith, deep drop, lots of time. Dancing, and throws incomplete.
Oh, and there's how there was the bad Geno there for a minute, because Koamisi had a shot at that. I think Geno tried to force that into an awfully tight spot when he could have just flicked it out of bounds, and no harm, no foul. Hard to believe that it's the 2 New York quarterbacks that lead the National Football League in turnovers.
On 2nd and 10, Geno Smith again with a lot of time and throwing and complete and out to midfield, and then some. Kellen Winslow. Winslow to the 40. Winslow out of bounds just at about the 32-yard line.
And the Dolphins are letting Geno Smith be very comfortable in the pocket. Take a look at that. I mean, seriously, there wasn't a Dolphin defensive lineman who was even thinking about getting after Geno Smith. Kellen Winslow had the ball stripped away, and it ends up on his hip before he's able to corral it and get control of it again.
This is Powell, just inside the 30 to the 29. Well, we are in the last 25 seconds of the 3rd quarter.
That long pass, though, to Winslow, Greg, was that a pretty pocket or what? I mean, that was some job by the Jets offensive line, giving their guy plenty of time to see the whole field.
So time will wind down here on the 3rd quarter with questions to be answered. Can the Miami Dolphins answer the challenge? They're looking for a playoff spot. Are the Jets fighting to save Rex Ryan's job? That's in play. It's 14-7 Jets after 3. We're back after this word from your local station. No lack of Jet fans here in South Florida as we welcome you back for the start of the fourth quarter. Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf, our producer, Mark Wolf, our director, Bob Fishman, and the rest of our CBS Sports crew. Look at the yardage rushing for Geno Smith today.
I think it's been the difference in this game. It's really unnerved the Dolphins defense.
Powell. And Powell works his way to the 25. Once again, JB and Shannon in New York.
Hey, Greg, Dan Deerdorf can appreciate this kind of protection.
Look at all the time he has. I think I'm in like 10 Mississippi right now. But he finds Greg Olsen on the touchdown, 21-17, Carolina over Atlanta.
Carolina looking to clinch the South. Back to Greg and Dan.
All right, guys, and Carolina can clinch the South on a first-round bye with a win or a New Orleans loss.
And you're right, I do appreciate it. Love it.
Demand it. Geno Smith throwing outside, complete inside the 20 to the 18 is Zach Sudfeld, the rookie tight end from Nevada.
Well, I'm telling you, we are seeing some really outstanding work by this Jets offense. And I'll tell you what, one of the things that's really playing into the Jets' favor, and that is how they are running the football more than they're throwing it. They have run the ball 30 times. They've thrown it 23. And that has allowed them to do what they do best. And as we saw earlier, 7 of those runs are by their quarterback.
First down at the 19-yard line, and Smith to throw. Incomplete inside the 15-yard line. Pass intended for Kellen Winslow. And Dan, you were saying this is the time for the Miami defense to stand tall, because should they allow a touchdown, they're in big trouble here.
Oh, well, they'd be 2 scores behind as we're already in the fourth quarter of this game. And offensively, again, other than that one long, successful touchdown drive they put together, they had a partial one, their last one, that ended with a Tannehill interception by Milliner. But playing come from behind football, not Miami's specialty.
2nd and 10. Powell. And he makes it to about the 17. Olivier Vernon making the stop.
Olivier Vernon, number 50, right there in the middle of your screen. If you're not going to block the backside defensive end, you better do it against the slower guy than Vernon.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. His parents were big fans of Laurence Olivier. 3rd and 8. Smith. End zone. Overthrows his intended receiver, David Nelson.
And you got a 6'5" receiver. It takes a bad throw to overthrow him. And that's what happened with Geno there. He's got Nelson. He's got him. The timing, the ball was late and it was high. If you could time that could have been an easy touchdown. That was a heck of a route run by David Nelson.
So here's Nick Folk now. 31 out of 33. He has had an extraordinary year kicking the football. 35-yard field goal attempt for a 10-point lead. He missed it.
That ball, as you looked at it from behind, it looked like it was wide to the outside. It curls back in late, but after it went by the upright.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by T-Mobile. Unleash. And by USAA, proudly serving the financial needs of current and former military members and their families.
Miami Dolphins dodge a bit of a bullet there, and they have the ball now at their own 26-yard line.
Easy. Let's jump. 44 jump.
Tannehill making adjustments.
28. Go.
He gives to Miller, and Miller for about a yard, no more than that.
Let's go back and take another look at this kick by Folk. Those of you wondering, well, geez, how about review? Review does not apply to a field goal where the ball is actually higher than the top of the upright. If it stayed at a level where it passed in or out of the upright before it went over the top, that could be reviewed. But that ball was certainly higher, and it did. It curled in, but it curled in too late. That's like you read the break right on a putt, but it doesn't break until after you're past the hole.
I will take your word on that. Lamar Miller. Miller across the 40 to the 43 and a first down. DeJuan Landry making the stop.
Boy, and everybody, what happens there? Great blocking in the middle where they got to the second level and blocked David Harris and Demario Davis. They both get handled, and then it's into the secondary.
Well, it isn't as if they haven't been trying. That's Miller's 16th carry of the day for 68 yards. First down now at the 43.
Which is better than 4 yards a carry, which is solid.
Miller. And Miller dances his way across the 45 to the 47.
Well, let's see if that miss by Folk doesn't invigorate the Dolphins here, because they were up against it, looking at going down by 10 points, 2 scores, and here they've got an opportunity on their next possession to tie it up.
And a score by the Jets there might not have allowed the Dolphins to pursue the running game as much as they have on this drive. 2nd and 5. Tannehill dumps it off to Clay. And Clay pushes his way inside the 50. Cincinnati's jumped back on top against Baltimore. JB and Shannon.
Shannon, Dalton's really rebounding.
This is how you answer. 12 plays, 90 yards. Capped off a 1-yard TD run by Andy Dalton. The Bengals are back in front, 24-17 over the Ravens.
Back to Greg and Dan.
Boy, the maturation of Andy Dalton has been fun to watch over the last few years, hasn't it?
It sure has. You know, one of the things comes to mind here, Greg, is that the Dolphins have had trouble getting Charles Clay involved in this ballgame. 2 receptions for 11 yards. He's normally a much bigger part of their offense than that.
Tannehill out to this side of the field. Wallace, and Wallace goes nowhere. Isaiah Trufant making the play on the near side.
And that forces a Miami punt because it's just 4th and about 8 yards, 7.5. And that ball was extremely low to Wallace. And that ball, that is an incomplete pass. That ball hit the ground. But I don't know that the Jets really care about it, to tell you the truth.
Brandon Fields kicking it away to Jeremy Curley. Curley will let it fly and will bounce over the end zone for the touchback. 9:18. Time running out on the Miami season. 14-7 Jets. Don't think those San Diego Chargers don't love the look of the scoreboard right now as they're sitting and await the Kansas City Chiefs. If these scores hold up, San Diego goes on and wins, they're in the playoffs. From the 20-yard line, Powell for a couple to the 22. A reminder for you, Thursday on CBS, Sherlock's Greatest Rival returns in the first new elementary of the year. Discover the hit drama Thursday at 10/9 Central, only CBS.
Well, here's where Rex Ryan and Marty Morningweg are going to try to take the air out of the football. Play some old-fashioned Jets ground and pound football. Again, keep in mind, Geno Smith has already run it 7 times in this game.
Powell has a first down across the 30 to the 32, where Philip Wheeler makes the tackle.
Boy, and the guys up front, take a look at that down block by Winters, and then he comes in on Wheeler. Wow, the rookie left guard got it done on that one. He's had an up and down season. But Brian Winters, number 67, kudos to you on that one.
152, hey! 159, hey!
First down now for the Jets at their own 32. Powell again. Powell again with running room. Powell breaking tackles and has a first down to the 45.
Right now, the crowd here at Sun Life Stadium, all of a sudden starting to hear a smattering of boos because they're seeing missed tackles, their guys getting blocked. And what a finish by Bilal Powell. Look at him cover the football, gets a hand ripped off of it, puts it right back on it. And he knows the Dolphins are coming after the football, but right now, a couple of key first downs for the men from New York. That's good-looking football there. When you're protecting a lead, it can block it like that.
Alex Green is in the backfield now alongside Geno Smith. And Green gets handoff and he's wrapped up before he reached the line of scrimmage.
Well, one of the things I think Marty Morningweg just saw is that on that same play, if Geno Smith would have kept that football, he might still be running. The Dolphins are really overplaying it into the middle between the tackles where they've been getting gashed. I'd come right back with that same play, fake the handoff, and let Geno keep the football and come around the edge.
149 rushing yards for the New York Jets today. Cincinnati has stretched their lead over Baltimore to 10.
Geno's out at wide receiver.
And Bilal Powell takes the direct snap. Coming left, he's going to throw it. And lobbing it down the field and caught by Cumberland. Cumberland!
And that is what the offense looks like for a team that's playing loosey-goosey with nothing to lose. Bilal Powell is a left-hander, and he, rolling to his left, drops in a really feathery, soft ball down here to Jeff Cumberland. Right over the shoulder. That was a heck of a throw by a running back, moving to his left. Of course, it really helps to be left-handed in that situation.
You know, for a guy whose job is supposedly on the line, Rex is having a heck of a lot of fun on the sidelines. 25-yard line. And a timeout is called. So the Jets call a timeout with 6:02 to play in the fourth.
You are watching the NFL on CBS.
Quarterback Ryan Tannehill on the left, his head coach Joe Philbin on the right. And with 6:02 to play here in regulation, they're up against it. The Jets with the ball. First down at the Miami 25.
Few things more excruciating than wanting the ball back desperately and the other team won't give it to you.
Smith, throw it, complete. Far side of the field, David Nelson. And Nelson has a hit at the 25. Let's get an update from JB and Shannon in New York. Guys.
For those of you looking for a Chiefs win, Shannon, look at this.
This doesn't help your cause. No Alex Smith. 19 touchdowns. Jamal Charles is out. 4 Pro Bowlers are not going to play today. Kansas City is resting their starters for the playoffs.
Coach Cowher said the right move. Look towards the postseason. Spiro and Steve.
And that, Dan, is something that you said that's typical of Andy Reid, what he's done over his career.
No question about it. It's what he did his years in Philadelphia. Nobody should be the least bit surprised about that.
On 2nd and 10, this is Powell, and Powell to about the 22. Clock continues to move. We come up on 5 minutes to play in the fourth.
And again, the Jets should be in no hurry to snap this ball. Use as much of the play clock as you possibly can. But again, Rex and Marty Morningweg have the luxury of having a running quarterback at their disposal.
Third and 7. Smith rolls, throws, that's complete and out of bounds, short of the 15-yard line and short of a first down. And that will bring Nick Folk and the field goal unit onto the field.
And Folk, who's been such a reliable kicker, it's hard to imagine that he would miss back-to-back field goals in this situation.
We'll take a timeout.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the new Windows. One experience for everything in your life. Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side. And by the new Intel-powered 2-in-1s. Intel. Look inside.
Nick Folk will try this one from 35 yards. He missed the 35-yarder not so long ago. He doesn't miss this time. 4:18 to play in the fourth, and the Jets lead is 17-7.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subway. Hurry to Subway for Customer Appreciation Month this December. Subway, eat fresh. And by AT&T. Rethink possible.
Number 22, Ed Reed, putting another notch in his belt.
The old and the young right there, sitting next to D. Milliner. D, I would try to soak up every look. I'd just be cozy as I could be, trying to have a little Ed Reed rub off on you.
Yes, sir, number 22, whatever you say.
Second
and 6.
I hear you.
Damon Harrison and Kenrick Ellis are both in the backfield. And straight ahead, Sheldon Richardson. Now there's some beefy running backs.
Look at that. You think Rex is having a little fun with that? Now that is the largest backfield ever assembled on a football field.
Look at that.
No, that is seriously. That is a lot of big people.
Well, Kenrick Ellis goes 346. Damon Harrison goes 350, and Sheldon Richardson a paltry 295.
By the way, on that last replay, Sheldon Richardson fumbled the ball. He loses the ball.
The fridge.
Richardson
caught by two touchdowns.
Yeah, well, I think when Rex sees that ball came loose from Richardson, he was able to recover it. That might be the end of that.
Yes, enough of that experiment.
Even. 159, 2 spot.
35. Powell to the middle of the field. And Nick Folk on the edge of the field over there.
Well, they're in no hurry because the Dolphins have no timeouts remaining, so they can't stop the clock. So.
And Rex is going to take every second that he can off of the clock.
Yeah, and he'll just use one of his own. Or heck, even if he gave up 5 yards, it wouldn't be that big of a deal if he took a delay. But he'll use the timeout. He doesn't need him.
And Rex calls timeout with 3:03 to play here in the fourth quarter.
Well, the Miami Dolphins, they knew what they had to do today. They haven't been able to handle the Jets on the ground. And then they needed a key fourth down conversion. Couldn't do it. And that play, Milliner on Wallace in the end zone, big. And then Milliner right afterwards comes back with the first interception of the game. Then Ed Reed off a deflection gets a second. Keep in mind, this was a Miami team, Greg, that going into last Sunday's game in Buffalo controlled their playoff future. They didn't need help from anybody. If they could have gone to Buffalo and won and then come here back home and won, they're in the playoffs. Need help from no one.
26 yards out. Nick Folk is good. So as the clock dips just under 3 minutes to play, the Jets with a 20-7 lead and a lot of satisfaction for that man there, no matter what happens to him.
Well, even if the Jets would have lost today, the prudent move is to keep Rex Ryan as coach. Because I mentioned this at the start of the show. You fire a coach because his team doesn't play for him, because they don't put forth great effort, or it all comes unraveled and they're incompetent. And none of that has happened. If anything, this team has overachieved with the talent level they have. And there's Woody Johnson with the white hat on in the center of your screen, the owner of the New York Jets. And it would be folly to fire Rex Ryan. Complete and utter folly. And I think Rex will tell you that he has learned a lot in his 5 years. He doesn't praise his players in public as much as he used to do when he first got started. You know, remember, Greg, we talked on that time. He said, look, I thought I was putting all the pressure on myself, and I was wrong. I didn't realize how much pressure I was putting on my own players. I'll get off my soapbox. I think you figured out by now that I don't
think Rex should stay?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Well, you know what?
Not only that, I think that's what you think.
It is what I think, because I think he's a good football coach. And I'm telling you right now.
Well, as you said earlier, you said it earlier, I believe it was on the pregame show, that if you let Rex Ryan go, he's going to go somewhere else and come back and beat you.
And you'll have to watch him win.
And if the rumor mill is correct, there are going to be some openings around the NFL. Probably starting tonight or early tomorrow.
Yeah, there might be a head start on Black Monday with somebody always gets it on Sunday night. Somebody always. I mean, we've had one so far. We already have one opening with Gary Kubiak getting fired in Houston.
This will come down to Thigpen on the run, drops it, trying to cover it, loose ball, and it appears to be covered by the Dolphins at about the 16-yard line. And with 2:54 on the clock, that's where Ryan Tannehill and the offense will get it started. And let's take you back again to New York. JB and Shannon.
This does not help the Ravens' cause.
I believe this last interception by Joe Flacco would bring the Ravens season to a painful close. This interception by Drake Kirkpatrick, 27-17, with a little over 5 minutes left in the ball game.
Back to Greg and Dan.
Well, I can tell you one thing, guys. Greg and I learned last year in the playoffs, you don't count Baltimore out, but I agree with you. It looks like it would take more than the Mile High Miracle to get them in.
Tannehill throwing over the middle, and that's complete out to the 30-yard line to Marlon Moore, and the clock continues to move. Miami is out of timeouts. Pittsburgh within a minute 15 of winning their game against Cleveland. Tannehill over the middle, and there's Clay. And Clay to midfield for a first down. And now San Diego. They need to beat a Kansas City team that is resting most of their starters. Tannehill, right over middle again. That's incomplete. That'll stop the clock with 2:04 to play.
Again, I think it's some disappointment on Miami's part. I mentioned earlier about not getting Charles Clay involved. He's become such a huge part of their offense. So Charles Clay, not really, he's only got 3 receptions on the day. And then the loss of Brian Hartline early in this football game. That's a lot of production that wasn't there for Ryan Tannehill. Clay was on the field. You got to credit the Jets. They took him away.
And we had a little motion on this side.
Mike Wallace, I think, false started.
False start. Offense, number 11. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
So there is Brian Hartline, who did not come back to play after he injured that knee. And so much hope for the Miami fans as they showed up here today. Hoping to make it into the postseason. Not going to happen. Second and 15. Tannehill throwing over the middle, incomplete. And a flag.
Well, Greg, they were just so horrible in that loss up at Buffalo last week.
Back here in Miami, a minute 59 to play. This is what they showed the fans here. The Miami Dolphins thanking my partner for his years of service. Owner Stephen Ross, team president Tom Garfinkel, and general manager Jeff Ireland paying a visit here in the booth, all to say goodbye. I got to tell you, this goodbye tour of yours, it's a lot like with the Who saying goodbye, only the Who came back, and apparently you're not going to be doing that.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And we still got a playoff game to do, so don't bar me from the trucks yet.
It's been fun. It's been fun.
Greg, thank you. And again, I've been so blessed to work here at CBS these last 15 years with just wonderful, you know how good they are. The technicians, the men and women of our crew, and our producer and Mark, and our director Bob, and our entire staff. I'm just so proud of all of you. And that's what I'm going to miss. I'm going to miss all of you. And
hey, we got these two right here. Don't hurt me. We got these two right here. 39. Leo. Come on.
2nd and 5. Tannehill has that one complete to Clay. Clay is inside the 35-yard line. Cincinnati is now doubled up on Baltimore, 34-17, with 3:40 to play in the fourth quarter.
Tannehill spikes the ball to just stop that clock from running so they can at least think about what play they're going to call.
And by the way, Dan, Pittsburgh a winner. And if Baltimore loses, Miami loses, and San Diego loses, the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the postseason.
And that would be one of the most improbable entries into the playoff tournament that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, we got 52-56, Leo.
Those games both are finals.
Come on, baby.
2nd and 10.
28, jump.
Tannehill throwing in, intercepted inside the 15-yard line, and that is Milliner, his 2nd of the game.
Well, 3 interceptions, 2 of them by number 27, D. Milliner. And it's just more than the Dolphins could overcome. That ball overthrown to Mike Wallace. And again, what a bitter defeat this is, and what a bitter final 2 weeks of the regular season has been for the Miami Dolphins.
How ironic is it, Dan, that we felt that coming into this game, both teams felt it would come down to whether or not Geno Smith turned the football over or not, and instead it's been Miami Dolphins turning the ball over today.
Geno Smith played a really, really good football game. 17 of 27, 190 yards, no interceptions. Granted, he didn't have a touchdown pass, but he was so disruptive in the running game. He ran it 8 times, 46 yards. He ran it in for a touchdown, and I think he set the tempo early. Remember that run he had on the sideline,
Sure.
Greg, where he just lowered his shoulder and went for it. And I think Geno Smith on that play served notice to the Dolphins that the Jets came to play.
Playing in front of 50-plus family and friends here in Miami. What a nice homecoming for number 7, Geno Smith.
And for those of you that are wondering if Geno's going to buy you a drink later, no, he's not. He's going back on the charter with the Jets. So don't be looking for him anywhere.
2 interceptions for D. Milliner.
And again, look at Rex.
And that'll put the cap on it.
Well, we'll see what happens. We're not in charge.
What a complete turnaround from the first time these two teams got together up in New York, where Miami won it by a score of 23-3. The Jets vowed it wouldn't happen again, and they were right.
If anything, Greg, we've just seen another notice that nothing comes easy in the National Football League. Nothing.
Geno Smith and the New York Jets, a winner on this last day of the regular season. Both these teams will miss the playoffs. Our final, 20-7, Jets. Up next, Bills, Patriots, Broncos, Raiders, or Chiefs and Chargers. For Dan Deardorff, for all of us here in Miami, Greg Gumbel saying so long. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. Coming up, the NFL Today update presented by Aflac will join James Brown in New York after this.